My boss refused to turn on the AC, so I made a tornado instead. I 29M work in a warehouse office that somehow manages to be hotter inside than it is outside. The building is old, badly insulated, and basically turns into a giant oven every summer. During a brutal heat wave last July, the indoor thermometer hit 92 degrees Fahrenheit by noon. We were sweating through our shirts, papers sticking to our forearms, computers overheating. It was miserable. So naturally we asked our manager, "Hey, can we please turn on the AC?" And he said no. Not because it was broken. Not because corporate banned it. But because he wanted to cut energy costs so our department looked good on paper. He literally told us to toughen up and act like adults. Meanwhile, he had a personal desk fan pointed directly at his face like a wind deity. The next day was even hotter, 95 degrees Fahrenheit indoors, and he still refused. People were dizzy, cranky, exhausted. One of the warehouse guys nearly passed out. My manager said we were being dramatic and that heat boosts productivity because people want to finish faster. No one was finishing anything, but he wouldn't budge. He said the AC wasn't turning on unless corporate forced him, and he knew they wouldn't visit during summer. That's when malicious compliance kicked in. I happen to have a massive industrial fan in my garage from a renovation project. This thing is loud. It's powerful. When you turn it on, it sounds like a helicopter preparing for takeoff. I brought it to work the next morning, rolled it right into the middle of the office, plugged it in, and turned it to maximum power. Instantly everything on our desks took flight, paper spiraling, pens scattering, sticky notes ripping off monitors. The breeze was hurricane level. The manager stormed out of his office yelling, "Turn that thing off," I said, "I'm just cooling myself down, since AC isn't allowed." Other coworkers shrugged and said it was better than fainting. He looked like he wanted to strangle me, but technically he couldn't stop me from using my own fan. He tried to hold a meeting. No one could hear him over the roar. He tried to sign paperwork. The fan blew it out of his hands. His shirt puffed like a parachute. He retreated to his office, but because his door didn't seal properly, the airflow kept sucking his paperwork out like a vacuum. I pretended to be concerned and asked, "Wow, is the draft bothering you? Should we turn on the AC instead?" He glared so hard I swear my eyelashes curled. By lunchtime the office was a disaster zone, but a cool disaster zone. People were fanning themselves dramatically whenever he walked by, acting like the fan was their only lifeline. He told me to turn it down. I said I couldn't because heat makes me lightheaded and I didn't want a workers' comp injury. Malicious compliance at its finest. Then came the twist. Corporate made a surprise inspection that same afternoon. Apparently a warehouse employee filed a complaint about unsafe temperatures. Corporate walked in to find us sweating, the thermometer reading 96 degrees Fahrenheit, and my boss hiding in his office with melted chocolate stuck to his keyboard. They asked why the AC wasn't on. He claimed it was broken. They asked me, because I was closest, and I very calmly said, "It works." He just said we're not allowed to turn it on because it costs too much. My manager turned pale. Corporate immediately tested the AC, and it blasted cold air perfectly. They looked furious. They pulled him aside for a private talk that everyone could hear through the thin walls. It wasn't short. They reminded him that OSHA guidelines exist for a reason, that heat illness is a real liability, and that refusing to use functioning climate control during a heat emergency was a policy violation. The next day, a memo went out stating that AC is to remain on during all heat advisories, no exceptions. That fan never had to come back, the AC stayed running all summer. As for my manager, he didn't get fired, but corporate reassigned him to a role that conveniently removed him from supervising humans. Whenever I walk past his old office, I still imagine papers swirling like a tornado in the wind. Turns out the heat wave ended, but his power trip didn't survive the storm.